Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and I've got my whiteboard again. We did a few videos with this. You've probably seen both of them by now. We're going to do a few more. And what we're going to do is take some of the comments that you give us. It's going to inspire us to do some more things on the business and use what I'm going to call my, to prove I read comments, Amway board. Please don't sue me, Amway. Because somebody said, I could get the name, that when they watched it, it reminded them when they interviewed for Amway, because we're doing numbers and moving things all around, and and it seemed like we were probably trying to be confusing. Although Amway tries to tell you how great it is, we're trying to tell you how it really is with snakes, good and bad. And it is good, but we're going to have some corrections. You just got to know what to expect. So we're going to use the Amway board today, and there is a comment that I'm going to share with you that I've got queued up. I told the guy I was going to use it to make a video, but I typed that in response like literally a few seconds ago. So Will, on our video, I only know Will, said, prices are depressed for simple to make animals. The market is flooded with them. The prices may drop some for more desirable animals. It will still be profitable. If I make 6K on a triple recessive instead of 10K, I'm still happy. I'm not crying about it. So let's look at that, and I agree with Will in a lot of ways. But first of all, let's talk about the simple to make animals. It depends on what you're looking at, okay? And I think I know what Will is talking about. And we're talking like, pastel, hide, simple axanthic, etc., etc. Bananas, they're really easy. B-A-N-A-N-A-A, banana, banana. Okay, got it. Woo! Probably misspelled that anyway. No, I don't think these prices are going to depress much more, nor do I think this is what Will's talking about. These have been pretty stable for a while. They're not as good as they were when I got into it, but that's a long time ago. And we're probably, let's just use a round number, $100, let's say. And that's really kind of high. Truth be told, let's use a real number. Let's not use 100 because that's not the real number. Like we typically price a single gene, simple pastel at around here. Female, male, 90 for female, 75 for male. If that goes down a little bit, this is not going to be a big flux. This isn't going to go up. It ain't going to go down much. It's going to be kind of right around there. You can find them cheaper than that. That's why I'm going to stick them at a show. Online, they're going to be cheaper a little bit because you're going to have to pay the damn shipping, and nobody wants to pay the shipping on a straight pastel. So it'll get wholesaled in a pound. Those kind of things. This is where we're going to be. That ain't going to change much. Pied, we were getting $350. I've seen them between there and $300. So we're going to say $350 to $300, somewhere in that neighborhood. This is pretty stable, y'all. It's been that way for a very long time. I don't see much change there. The only thing that you could say is changing is as inflation goes up, that $350 ain't the same $350. Yeah, thanks, Joe Biden. But I can't use political speech. Inflation is not the of our... I can't even say it with a straight face. I really can't. I tried. I tried not to say mean shit. But anyway, that's been pretty stable. This is kind of the same thing. I've actually seen this over the last few years increase. There was a time it was actually lower for single gene. It may come back down to earth, with the everything going on. But it's going to set within a pretty good range. Like, this isn't going to drop down to this. And, it's going to probably be somewhere in this neighborhood here, maybe a little lower than that. You're probably going to be looking at about 200 to 250, I would say, for a single gene. Decent axanthic down the road. I don't know what they're going for today. You could probably check that for me, whatever the median price. Don't do the lowest price, do last listed just for shits and giggles, and keep it down to 1 or 2 genes. So that's going to probably stay there. Banana, okay, these things used to be 10K. for a male, 20K. That's a K. It's a K. I'm only going to write 2 of those ever, by the way. We don't Never write 3 prices with a K. It's bad. So 10K for a male, 20K for a female back in the day. Now this was a long time ago. So this is a story of how prices do actually drop. Now they're about, about 175 to 200, we'll say. And that 175 to 200, that's going to stay pretty stable. They're pretty. They're always going to sell. They're going to sell them at shows and things and whatnot like that. So, this is all going to change a little, but I don't think this is what he's talking about on simple to make. I really don't. I'm having to kind of jump to some conclusions for you, Will, because, again, that's not what I wanted. I don't know. That's how professional we are. Our cameraman sees on camera. We just keep rolling. We don't fucking care. Because I don't know exactly what he said was simple to make snakes. But I'm going to assume I'm going to make that assumption that Will was talking more. What was I right on Xanthic?
Yeah, you're about right.
Oh, God, I just pulled that out of my ass. We really didn't look up any of those before. I think Will, when he's talking about simple to make, is talking more about, say, and I'm just going to glean this from him talking about triple recessives, things like a killer clown, right? Killer clown, or a, what else in a Batman?
Leopard spot-nosed clown.
If you think about it, a Batman is just as hard to make as a killer clown. Literally. Leopard, about as cheap as a pastel. Spot nose, about as cheap as a pastel. Clown, it's the same clown that's in there. Can you price match those two for me? Killer clowns versus Batmans. You know, Batman. You're going to say, yeah, but the Batman looks cooler. Well, that's in Beauty and the Eye of the Beholder. I actually like the Killer Clown better as a baby than I do the Batman. Then you're going to say, well, the Batman's newer. Yeah, now that is true. Batman is newer. And you're going to say the Batman has a cooler name. And I'm going to say there's a guy named Gacy that would disagree with you. And if you don't get that reference, please look that up. We should know those kind of monsters so we can find them earlier and make them not be monsters anymore. Anyway, with that, and this was not named for Gacy, by the way. The name Killer Clown came from the Killer Bee. Super Pastel kind of got the Killer moniker and it got applied to clown and it sounded really cool. So anyway, Batman, really cool name, really cool looking snake. So that pushed the price way through the roof. What do we find?
Killer Clown, average about 300.
Okay. Man, that's down. That's way down from what it used to be on there.
Batman, average 15.
Okay. So what's the difference? The difference is, the only difference between this animal and this animal is look, marketing, and look, marketing, and there's one more. I'm trying to think of what the hell it is I was going to write up there. Oh, scarcity, rarity, whatever you want to call it, how rare it is. This is more rare. And so I'm not here saying, somebody's like, oh, you're saying they should be the same price. Not what I'm saying at all. This should cost more than this because there's a lot more of these than there are of this, okay? What I'm going to tell you is what I think Will's talking about is this Killer Clown is simple to make. It's a super pastel clown at the end of the day. So that is, you need a pastel clown to breed a pastel clown and you can get a Killer Clown. This Batman is just as simple to make. It is a leopard spot-nosed clown at the end of the day. So you need a leopard clown to breed a spot-nosed clown, and you have the same odds of getting a Batman that you do a Killer Clown. And the prices to get the leopard clown or the spot-nosed clown have inflated simply because of this gene. As that is, they're out there. You can find leopard clowns and spot-nosed clowns falling off of fucking trees right now because so many people are in a rush to do this. Am I right? How many are on there? I know I'm making you work, but when you're sitting outside, we're going to do this. And
So you want just the visuals of the heads?
I want visuals of a leopard clown. I want visuals of a spot-nosed clown. And I want visuals of a pastel clown. Yeah, we're going to keep equal. We're going to throw heads out of the equation because if you're going to invest in that, you're not going to make heads. And then we're going to talk to you about what's going to happen. Because this, like I say, the difficulty to make and cramming your genes in is the exact same. Would we agree with that? 1 copy pastel, 2 copy pastel clown, 1 copy leopard, 1 copy spot-nosed clown. Literally the same difficulty and gene count. And it's not hard to make at all. You just got to have the parts. And we're going to price the parts out. So what do we find?
Leopard clowns, there are 274. Still working on the others.
Okay. Still working on it. And I'm going to tell you this one and this one will cost more. These will be more money than this one, which is a lot, part of that price too. This does cost more to make right now. Okay. You guys like dead air? You want me to sing for you?
Pastel clowns are
save me.
857.
Okay. So there's going to be more of these. There's going to be more of these, but I'm going to show you something. I'll make my point here in a minute.
230 in the spot-nosed clown.
230. So you need one of these, or times 2 of these. So really, you're going to buy 2 out of 857. So you could cut that number in half because you're buying 2 of them on the scarcity. Would we agree with that? You're only going to need 1 here and 1 here. You're going to need 2 of these. So this is not as rare, but they're all over there. There's not a lot less here than there is of this. You're talking there's about 400 or 500 of those versus 857. So you got to buy 2 out of 574 or 2 out of 857. Again, there's a lot of clowns out there, y'all. So they're readily available in parts. Don't text me, people. They're readily available in parts. And what's going to happen with all of that is people are going to purchase that. They're going to make these. And in a few years from now, I'm not talking tomorrow, I'm not talking next week, I'm talking, let's say, 36 months. Because I guarantee you, one of the reasons there's less of these and less of these and more of these is because people are keeping those because they're working to make this, right? That's what's happening. So, in 36 months, this will still be 300. Actually, I think it's going to go down, but we're going to say 300. I don't think it'll get much below 300. I think this now, when you see killer clowns for $300, I'll be blunt, I think that's the market being correct on what a killer clown probably should be. Honestly, you look at it and go, man, that's kind of low. Maybe a little low, but between 300 and probably 400 is the right price for that market. What I would tell you is the right price for this animal, once you remove this and this, would be the same. And this we can remove now, because who likes Batman better than Killer Clown? Raise your hand in the room. Who likes Killer Clowns look better than Batman? Raise your hand in the room. Kurt, you got to fucking vote. Which one is it? Which one, though? You voted late. You got to say it now.
The killer.
So the look's gone. So the really things are marketing and rarity. That's what's really driving the price. The marketing will fizzle. We'll all be on to the newer, better, brighter. Ball python market is a little kid's soccer team. We all just follow the ball. You know what I mean? So that'll go away. And as that goes away in about 36 months, Killer Clown may be 300. The Batman's may be about, between 450 and 6, if not matching it. That's the truth of it. So that's where I think Will's talking. Simple to make. I just use that for an example. These are just the same difficulty. And that price correction is going to come. I say correction because this is high now because it's rare and been marketed. And some people like the look. You're going to have people go, I think the Batman looks better. That's fine. A lot of people do. A lot of people like the Killer Clown look better. It just depends on what you're into. Let me clean that off because now I got to talk about something else. So what Will is saying, and I'll tell you why I think he's correct. I'll tell you how he could be absolutely wrong too, but he isn't. He's not wrong, but he could be, but he's not. And that'll make sense in a minute. So Will's talking about triple recessives. So that would be like, I don't know. Let's say we're going to make a clown, axanthic, pied. Okay? Find one of those on there for me. And when he fails at that, find one for sale, not one that's been sold. I want a clown axanthic pied for sale because I'm going to prove a point here. And what Will's saying is, that's going to, and he didn't give this example. I pulled that triple recessive out of my ass. He gave the triple recessive. He said you get 10K for one, the market corrects and goes to 6K. Will is still happy. This is Will, by the way. Happy Will. Will, you're bald. And I'm drawing you in a stick person figure. So he's happy about that. And I get it because that's still a good price for a snake. You're getting 6K a snake, you're probably going to be happy. And I think Will's going to be right. That's still a 40% correction in the market that he's talking about. I don't know if it's going to correct that much. I don't know what the starting point is or ending point is, but I think that's probably too much of a correction. I think we're going to probably be there maybe on something like that. It just depends on how many people are still into the market. So what's going to drive this? And let me first tell you how Will's wrong. Will, stick with me, buddy. Don't go cussing me out yet. Stick with me. Will is wrong for one reason, yet he's not wrong. I guess I should say Will could be wrong for one reason. How many did you find?
There's not one ever made in the entire world, and I checked both TSK and VPI.
Woo! Not one. Remember that word we talked about? How rare is it? So, Rarity is what's going to drive that price point, always and forever. But if everybody were to turn around one day and say, you know what, I'm going to make that Axanthic clown pied, and there was a bunch of them out there, that 10K drops. And it drops because, let's say, the original guy is out there, my thing's getting done, asking 10K. Will makes it first. And everybody knows Will. They do now anyway. And Will's getting 10K a baby. He sells a bunch of babies. Somebody buys a few years now, they're making them. And they're trying to sell their babies for 10K. Problem is, Will's got babies for 10K. People are going to buy from Will because they know Will. Will has been famous for making those. So this new guy who's also sold babies, plus Will's selling babies to everybody who will buy them. And Will's buying, like a Lambo now. And Will's got himself a new mansion. And, Will's got a boat. What's Will's name his boat, y'all? What's Will's name his boat? Come on, give me a good name for a guy who just made a whole bunch of money selling $10,000 snakes to a whole bunch of people. Like over and over again. Buying all the nice shit. Fresh new rich guy. I need a rap boat name here, like we'll call a boat called the William Tell. Will ain't into history. Will's into I don't know. We'll call it boats and hoes. No. Boats. I don't know. Boats and hoes. I can't think of a good name for you, Will. Give me a boat name in the comments for Will. Please name Will's boat name, because I thought I could come up with something on the fly and failed miserably. So Will's got a boat. You all name it. Well, as newer people have it, they can't get theirs to sell because Will's selling them. So they drop the price to 9K. And then they're selling because they're undercutting Will's. People still buy from Will anyway. He can hold that for a while, then it goes down, and then pretty soon it goes down all the way here because everybody's making them. And then pretty soon, if everybody makes them, and if you could go to every show in America, right, and they all had a table with 3 or 4 of those on it, 3 or 4 of those snakes on it, right, and everybody's got them, you go on a Morph Market, and instead of there being none made in the United States, out of Morph Market, I don't know, 1 in 4 are a clown Axanthic pied. Everybody's trying to sell clown Axanthic pieds. 2 things are going to happen. 1, we're all just trading money back and forth. That's possible. Or 2, that price drops and it's like $300. That's how Will can be wrong. Okay? Now, Will, buddy, you're not wrong. Now let me tell you why Will's not wrong. Okay? Ah! Will's not wrong because that animal, clown, pied, Axanthic, there's 2 ways to make that animal. Okay? 1, it's expensive to make. And you aren't going to get a lot of them because you'd have to be buying like double hefts or double visuals or something. You could probably get 1 in a blue moon cheaply. Not cheaply is relative, but buying the things to make that consistent is going to be expensive or takes forever. Takes forever. And what I mean by it takes forever is if you start and you have to make your hets, so you buy a clown, a pied, and Axanthic, and you're breeding that around, and you're making your hets, then you make a few visuals, and you're not going to cash in yet. You're going to keep those visuals, and you're going to increase your odds, and you get to the point where you can make those consistently in 3 or 4 clutches, and you can make 10, 15 of them a year. That takes a very, very long time. It takes a lot of dedication, takes a lot of time in. You have to really dedicate to the craft. And you ready for the coup de grace? So Will is right because, I dropped my one I wanted. Now I gotta get another one. Will is right for this. People want quick, money, and are lazy, impatient, That's why. So Will's right. Because most people are not going to take the time to invest in that project and get where they can make those consistently. That's why you still to this day are only going to see a handful of triple visual recessives. I mean, they're out there, but you're not going to see 1,000 of them. You're not going to see 5,000 of them. You're just not going to see it. You're going to see, maybe 100 a year or something. I don't know the exact numbers, because people want the quick money. They want to get into this and they don't make quick money. They want to hit those things that are hot right now and all of that. And they're going to be too lazy to take the time, or they're going to be too impatient to take the time. If you can avoid this, and you can avoid this, you can do exactly what Will is saying on a high level. Or what you can do is get where you're making several of them in a year and use that to supplement a lot, because that triple recessive is going to stay protected because of this. People aren't going to take the time, nor are they going to have the patience to sit there and work on that project for the 12 to 14 years it's going to take if you started with a single gene visual of each. They're just not going to do it. And you're saying, well, it doesn't take that long. It does, because you're going to have to breed those around, get your hets, then breed those back, and then get a visual here that's het here, a visual here that's het here, those sort of things. Breed that back, and you're not always going to hit the odds. And by the time you're 4 or 5 generations in, and you have to grow those up for a year at a pop to 3 years at a pop, because you're going to need new females too, and so you can get consistent triple visuals at a higher rate, because you're breeding a double recessive het this to a double recessive with a different het, where you're really only having to hit, like 2 genes in there, and you can get that out of 3 different females through 1 male. It's going to take time or a lot of investment. And that's just the way it is, y'all. So that's not a bad thing, and I 100% agree with what you're saying, Will. I don't see the high, when I say high end, I want to be careful, because people think of certain things as high end, like we just talked about the Batman. The Batman is a high-end snake right now. It's going to fall. It's going to. If you don't think it will fall, then you don't understand how this market works long term. And somebody's going to say, oh, no, so-and-so said this. I want you to always consider who's telling you something. If it's somebody that's trying to sell you something, most people aren't going to try to sell you something and tell you the folly of it. And I'm not saying spending $1,500 is a folly. It's absolutely not. You buy a Batman at $1,500, you breed that, you make more Batmans. Even if the price drops to $500, you're going to make your money, and the first clutch will still be good to go. So don't take this as me saying a Batman's bad. It's wanting to show you how the simple recessive combo, even with recessive, is still going to fall and come to a market like low end at some point. But these super hard things that people just don't do, based on the statistics we see, you can look all day for triple recessives, and we just tried it. I wanted him to find one that was currently for sale. I couldn't believe one actually had never been made, according to Morph Market. Did you even check World of Ball Pythons?
No, I can do that.
We're going to see if they have a picture of one, because that's older.
I mean, I've seen them on Facebook, but I've never seen one for sale.
Yeah, because you hold that back when you make it, right?
Right.
And so that's the thing. I'm not saying I would imagine that snake exists somewhere, but that's just the key. So yeah, if you work on the high end, and what I mean by high end is multiple recessive genes, you're going to be protected. That doesn't mean a double recessive is always going to be there, because I got some snows. And you know what? Snows are not worth big money. They're a simple double recessive. They are pretty hard to make unless you get lucky, and then you got to hold back. And if you want to breed them consistently, it's a long project. Ask me, I had to make my own hets. I had to get my own visual by making my own hets. Now he's going to breed back. It's a long project, and there will not be a shit ton of money in that project. It actually will be just a little bit above what a pied goes for. Now, if that was a snow pied or a lavender snow pied, totally different story. That third recessive makes a difference because it gets much, much harder. Quad's even more difficult. So that is where we're at. Kurt, anything you want to add to that?
No.
Do you think Will is right or wrong? The triple recessives, are you still going to be able to get a good price for something like that, a desirable triple recessive, and make good money?
Yes.
I agree. I think Will is right. Caleb, Will, is he right or wrong?
I think it's both.
Both how? You got to talk loud so that might get you.
I mean, I think he's right that triple recessives are going to hold their value longer, blah, 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 all those things that we had talked about.
They will.
But as the world goes and time goes on, they will go the same way as everything else and be as common eventually as double recessives and just single recessives, and the price falls.
So Caleb thinks I think the price will fall at some extent. I don't think it'll even fall as much as Will said it was. I'm more in Team Kurt. I just don't think people, most of them, have the time to put into a large-scale project. We're ever going to see the market inflate with that. Listen, Banana would have stayed $20,000 for a female if there was not very many females ever produced. It would have stayed $10,000 for a male if there was not many males ever produced. The problem was people bought them, bred them, and there's a shit ton in the price tanks. I don't ever see that happening here. I just think it's too much work. I don't think it'll ever become common. I think we'll always be a little kid soccer team following along something more simple. So anyway, I think, Will, you're right. Congratulations, you've been graded as not an idiot. And that's a big thing because we kind of think most people aren't idiots. We like most people, and that's where we're at. And I'm not saying, too, one more thing that I'm done, that you're impatient or lazy if you don't do this. I'm just saying in general, we don't do this right now, but it takes a lot to do these things, and most people aren't going to take the time in their project to do that. We'll probably do some triple recessive stuff, but it's not going to be at the very beginning because we're trying to fund other things when we go. All right, guys, that's all I got. We're going to go over to Patreon and talk about what triple recessives we would like to see and do. We'll catch y'all next time.